Big thank you to Phantasm for suggesting this video in the video recommended section of our community Discord. I appreciate you!
Something you would least expect to find on board an aircraft carrier is definitely a store, let alone a coffee shop. Aircraft carriers are first and foremost warships. But people rarely think about all the things that go into making a sailor's life normal while they are at sea. We're talking about more than 5,000 men and women that make up the crew of aircraft carriers, especially when deployments can last for 6 months to over a year.
Whoa, 6 months? No, I'm just kidding. But thousands of people, I mean, that could be a small town, guys. That's a lot of people.
That's a very long time they have to spend away from their families, friends, and even dry land. So the ship becomes their second home. Here is where they eat, where they sleep, and where they work. The U.S. Navy is working hard to create a sense of home away from home for sailors.
Oh, that's so cool!
And this may come in the shape of a cup of coffee that tastes exactly like the one back at home. They can enjoy a coffee drink that actually tastes like Starbucks, right there on the carrier. The ship's crew was trained by Starbucks staff, using the same preparation method and ingredients that we all find at the famous coffee shop. This way they brought a little bit of home on board the ship.
That is so cool.
Chocolate mocha, extra caramel.
And I cannot stress enough how important it is to maintain a high morale among the crew of any warship. Sailors work 12-hour shifts every day. They do not have days off, not even.
That's... what? Well, I mean, I guess that makes sense. I mean, you have to keep the boat running smoothly 24/7. But that's crazy. It's funny. I feel like we never hear about this part of the military. I feel like all the advertising and marketing we get around the military is very much like big, strong men protecting America, getting ready to be potentially pulled into a war at any time, intense fitness exercises, and isolation from society. And like that's all I ever hear. This is so cool. And I'm glad that they go this far for their people, because human health, man, it affects everything. If you don't have a good mindset, that affects everything else. If you don't take care of your body, that affects your mind. It's all connected.
On weekends. Imagine not having access to many of the facilities we get to enjoy daily after so much work. It can hit pretty hard. And sailors can't just take a trip into town to buy stuff, because you know, it's just too far away to swim. But with a coffee shop on board the carrier, sailors can start their day or relax after a working shift by sipping their favorite cup of coffee. They might not always come into the coffee shop with a smile, but once they have that cup of coffee in their hand, they'll most definitely leave with one.
Well, I'm glad they have the sense of normalcy and like food and the dancing and the games. A ship still looks like a ship. I wonder if you designed a ship differently to like mimic. Like, so you know how you go into a mall, for example, and there's some malls that are designed in such a way that they look like small villages on the inside? I wonder if you integrated architectural design more with the functionality of a ship, you could get both a ship that still is like lighter weight and cost efficient in terms of energy to run it, but at the same time you could have an environment that's a little more conducive to human psychology, human health. I wonder if that would help at all. And I wonder if there's been efforts to do that, because I think they do that with malls on purpose. Because like malls intrinsically aren't super fun, I think, to spend time at, but once you make it feel more like a village and more like homey, I think that encourages people to spend more time there. I feel like if that was translated over into military ships, being in the military would be more enjoyable. I wonder if there's any efforts that have been done to do that. I'm super curious about this now.
They do have to pay for the coffee, but at a sweet, lower price.
We're all surprised that we actually have a Starbucks that actually tastes like Starbucks, and the prices are cheaper than regular. Next in line? Can I get for you? This is benefiting sailors by giving them the hometown feeling, I guess.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. I think that's essential for human health and well-being.
Starbucks you usually don't find on ships, especially warships.
Right now we're out to sea, and so when we're in port, where you know, like the Starbucks is right across the street, and we're so used to getting one every time we go to work. It just rejuvenates everybody and keeps everybody upbeat and everything.
And I just want to point out, like, look at how, like, the background, when you look at the architecture of a boat, it's very, you know, rigid and structural. I think that that plays a role too. I think that although this is definitely better than nothing, if you could take this a step further, people would enjoy being in the military even more. And I've heard from people who have been in the military that it can do a number on your mental, you know, to be isolated like that and then to come back, and people don't always get support to reintegrate into society. And sometimes people don't even get the benefits that they're promised from the military, which I think is crazy. I think if the country can't keep its promise for what it's supposed to give people for going into the military, then why are you taking in people? I find that kind of messed up, especially when it comes to healthcare. But if they started to put in more effort, it would certainly help.
So we brought home to Carl Vincent. So a little bit of home.
It's a nice change from having soda all day long. We get a little bit of something different.
There is another popular place inside the ship that provides a sense of normalcy and allows sailors to enjoy familiar things, even when they're at sea. And the convenience store is one of them. In fact, all U.S. warships have at least one store on board, but they do vary in size. And because aircraft carriers are so huge, they have several stores, and they are quite big, like a supermarket.
That's really cool. I hope the prices of the grocery stores are also as affordable as like the coffee. It sounds to me like everything is set up in such a way that it equalizes. Like it makes sense for items to be cheaper for people in the military, because it's my understanding you don't actually get paid very much. I mean, it depends on obviously what your role is, but I've heard that in general you don't get paid a whole lot. So I'm glad that things are affordable, at least in terms of the coffee. But I hope that's something that is consistent across all the stores.
Here is where sailors get to shop for different types of goods, from snacks and candies to personal care products, beverages, tobacco products, and many more. They can even use shopping baskets, making the experience just like a regular visit to their local store at home. The shop can host a limited number of customers, so they usually wait for their turn by forming a line outside in the hallway.
Yeah, look at how narrow that hallway is. That's so narrow. I wonder though how far they go beyond just stores and food, because that's great. But honestly, I think with the stresses of being away from home and stuff, like meditation and spas and a gym, you know, things that really cater to a sense of de-stressing is really important. I wonder if they're going to get into that later in this video.
And there's another good reason why there are grocery stores on board Navy ships. There's only so much sailors can pack for deployments, and being on the ship for months at a time is not like being on base, where they can just take a trip into town to get what they need. And if they are in a hurry or just want to buy a thing or two, but don't want to wait in line at the ship's store, there are vending machines inside the
Look, fig tree. Hey, that's something.
ship from where they can grab a snack or a drink. It's the little things that sweetens their duty time at sea. The crew pays for all their purchases, whether from the stores, Starbucks, or the vending machines, by using an electronic purse called Navy Cash Card. This method replaces currency aboard the ship, and sailors no longer have to carry those annoying heavy coins in their pockets.
That's so cool.
All profits from the stores, vending machines, and the coffee shops go back to the crew through morale, welfare, and recreation.
Heck yeah, I love that. Okay. I was gonna say, if they kept going and saying that they sold all these other different things, I was gonna say, but what's the money going to though? Because again, I don't feel like people in the military are paid enough. So I really hope that they're getting more, and I'm really happy to hear that.
Division. I know what you may think. Join the Navy, and then you end up working in a convenience store. Well, retail services specialist, formerly known as the ship's servicemen.
Well, you know, actually that can be useful because that could be helpful for reintegrating into society. I mean, I would hope that if someone came back from the military, they wouldn't necessarily be working as a cashier somewhere, and they would be given a leg up into some other industry they want to get into. But if they don't, being able to say, not only was I in the military, but I operated in this specific role that is similar to society, so I wasn't like 100% removed in that sense career-wise, I think that's actually more helpful than just potentially saying I was in the military. But like transferable skills wise, there may not be a transference depending on what the person is transitioning into when they do go back to society. So I actually think that that makes a lot of sense.
manage and operate the ship's retail and service activities. But they're also that friendly face that makes sailors feel at home even when they are not. And they contribute to the overall well-being and morale of the crew. Their work can enhance the quality of life on board the aircraft carrier, so they play a huge role in uplifting the morale of the ship's crew. You'll see them working in offices, ship stores, coffee kiosks, barber shops, and laundry plants.
Wait, what was that room before? Was that a spa thing? Oh wait, no, that was laundry, I think. Okay, do they have gaming on the ship? This is what I have to... Is there a movie theater?
The Steel Beach Picnic is another morale builder.
Ooh, that's so nice. Could you imagine, like, barbecue and picnics on a ship like that in the middle of the sea with all that sunshine? Heck yeah.
That the ship's captain can call for. Sailors get to enjoy a day off and relax on the flight deck and in the hangar bay. Hence the name Steel Beach. Basically, it's a picnic while they're underway. The crew sets up barbecue pits and
I haven't seen those snow cones in so long. That's so nice.
cook burgers, hot dogs, and steak. During the party, you'll see them sunbathing, dancing, or playing different sports.
That's so cool. I'm so happy. It's like a little community day, little holidays. And it's nice that the ship has plenty of space for it too. All that flat ground. Well, that's so cool.
There are lots of sodas and iced tea, and even though the U.S. Navy has a no-alcohol policy aboard the ships, the captain may request a beer day, which can be held on the same day as the Steel Beach party. So sailors get to blow off some steam and feel a little taste of home. During the festivities, the flight deck is full of people, and instead of the excitement of launching aircraft, the whole crew is just having fun and relaxing on a day off. It's a perfect opportunity for the entire crew to recharge their batteries. They do not fly planes that day, so those working on the flight deck get a well-deserved day off, as well as those who carry out their duties in parts of the ship where they don't get much sunlight.
That looks so good. I'm so hungry now.
They hold this special day if the ship is at sea for a few months in a row, and of course when weather and schedule allows it. Later in the day, as the sun sets down, they grab all the gear off the deck and retire to their stations, getting ready for the next day and for the mission ahead. So it's back to their regular shifts, but they still have the coffee shops, the stores, and all the other facilities aboard. Even though aircraft carriers are primarily made for launching 60-plus aircraft that can strike pretty much any type of target, they also provide various facilities to support the needs of the crew during their deployment.
Puppy!
This includes a laundry room,
That's nice.
a uniform shop, medical and dental offices, a dry cleaner, barber shop, and fitness center.
That is so cool. Why don't we hear about stuff like this when it comes to the military? Why don't we talk about the humanitarian side of it? Like actually taking care of people in the community and stuff. I feel like there's this whole other world I have never been exposed to that I'm just learning about right now. Oh my gosh. Okay, so let me just say, I don't know a whole lot about the military, so I apologize for my ignorance. But I know we have a lot of people in the community that are in the military, so maybe you could help me with this. If you could add something to your military experience to make it better, what would you want? I have no idea how to bring about changes in the military, but what I'm thinking of here is if enough people who are in the military kind of come together and share ideas, maybe you guys can even like rally together and be able to make some changes to be able to start some advocacy, because Again, I don't know a whole lot about the military, but what I will say is just looking at this way of living, I'm super glad that they have a sense of community and they do things for the mental, emotional well-being of people that are in the military. But I feel like it's an incomplete effort. I feel like there's so much more that can be done. And I think it's so obvious when you talk to people who have come back to the US, for example, from being deployed. I just get the sense that we're not doing the best job we could be doing with helping people reintegrate back into society, but also to simply have a more positive experience when they do go into the military. I imagine the experience is different depending on what branch of the military you're in, obviously, but I have heard so many stories from men in the military especially, and maybe that's just because most people in the military are men, I'm not sure, but I've heard so many stories about how hard it can be to be in the military and to remain in a good place mentally and emotionally. I mean, considering the kinds of work that you do in the military for the sake of your country, I just feel like it's really strange that this is the current standard of where we are with how we take care of people in the military. What I think would be better, and this is just based on what I've seen in this video and the different places they show us in the ship, I feel like a lot of what is offered caters more to the physical in general and not enough to the mental and emotional. And again, maybe that's also because of expectations around kind of what men's needs are and what we expect of men, but I feel like it's very physically focused. Like, okay, laundry and a gym and food, great, but those are all very kind of physically focused. What about mental and emotional well-being? Are there therapists on the ship? Are there game nights? Are there opportunities to see movies? Are there spaces for meditation? Are there places where people can be social, just third spaces where there's no expectation, but hey, like, let's chat? Are there libraries? Are there spas, which I guess are physically focused in a way because you help your muscles a lot by getting massages, for example, but the mind and body are connected to a degree also, so even that would help with mental, emotional well-being. I just find that in general with the military, there's always a big focus on the physical and being performative, and that's totally valid, and you need that to be a well-rounded person. But I also just see a kind of lack of interest in the mental, emotional side of human needs and men's needs, and that personally is something that I think would make the experience even better. But let me know what you guys think. I'm really curious because I know a lot of you guys have served and you have a perspective that I do not have here. This is me judging based on an outside looking in perspective. And again, thank you again so much, Phantasm, for sharing this with me. I appreciate you. And I'll see you guys in the next video. If you have more military stuff, by the way, that you'd like for me to react to, please share that because I find this super interesting and cool. Thank you for watching. Bah! It's ad break time. If you would like to support me and my content, check out merchofthewind.com. Here are some shirts that are designed by yours truly. We have this adorable waifu cup by Xander Can Draw. Here's a mug also designed by myself. We have this cute notebook by Litobug. And we have a lot of affordable options like these cute stickers. There are even more options on merchofthewind.com, so do check that out. And thank you for all of your support.